Hello everyone and welcome back to Scale Sandbox. Yes, we're back again and today we are going to be filling in this little area over here. However, I've got a little bit of an update for you. So I did do a stream in between this episode and last, and if you're a person who doesn't watch the streams, then I'm just going to update you on what we've done. Basically, as I said I would, I filled in this little area over here, so we've now got 3 more lovely fields, some nice smooth farm track between them, and I added this very little humpback bridge. And at some point I will be doing all of this in a future stream, but again I will update and show you when this is all done. Anyways, on to more important things, and that is what we're going to be doing today. Now, first of all and most importantly, I want to add a signal box here, so let's get doing that. Let's start with a very small base, and then we're just going to pull up a box that should be around about the right size. Of course, we're going to need some wedges for the roof. Now, of course, this whole building is not going to be pebbles, so let's find some nice colors and textures for this. In fact, I'm going to split the top and bottom into 2 pieces because I want this to be double textured. For the bottom, I'm going to go wood planks with this nice brown color. And for the top and wedges, I'm still going to go wood planks, but I want it to be a lot more light and white like that. And of course, we need a little bit of black metal to separate the two. For the roof, I've just put on a general slate color. Then add a couple of windows. There we go. And I'm not doing anything any more detailed than that. I think that is perfectly good enough. Now, as well as having a nice little pebble base for this building, I want to have a more sort of asphalty area because we're going to add another couple of buildings in over here. So there we go. I've got an area sort of like that, and I think this is really nice. I've also started to continue a road out this way because obviously we're going to need access to this space. I'm also planning to have another crossover bridge here, and then also bringing a path and road out this way. But first, I need to change the color of this pebble because it's not the color that we want. There we go. That asphalt is looking miles better. And I want to add a couple more buildings around this area. So the first thing we need to do is pull out this pebble base. Then we can pull out a shape for the building. And I've actually done the outline like this because I want this building to be a warehouse, and I'm going to have 2 warehouse shutter doors here. And of course, like any other building in this entire map, we're going to need a nice sloped roof. Now the general shape of the building is there. We can go and put some color in, and I'd like a nice deep red brick and then just a normal slate for the roof. Now I'm going to come over here and copy one of these windows because I really like it, and I think I'm just going to use it on the other building. Now these windows are a little bit big for this building, so let's see if I can successfully scale this down. And you know what? I think that is a pretty good size. And now I've got a back on it, I can copy it across a couple of times. And there we go. That is the windows on. Now I've just got to add these nice shutter doors. I'm not going to do anything fancy because that looks pretty good on its own, and I'm happy with that building. So I'm going to add one more building over here. And of course that starts with the pebble base. And just like the times before, pulling up a box and adding on the top slopes. And this building is going to be slightly different, only in the sense that I'm just going to have a little cover area for the roof. So there we go. Now we've got the base shape. We can go ahead and add all the colors in. And because this building is more like an office where people work, I'm going to add a couple of chimneys to it. I've decided to move this porch cover so it looks a little bit more realistic, and this is nice as I think it just gives a nice variety of different types of windows around this area. And the last thing I need to add is a nice door, which I am just going to model off these windows. So we've got 3 lovely buildings over here. Now I want to turn my attention to a little bridge that I want to make. First of all though, we need a little path leading around the back of the signal box, and then just across a bit to where the bridge is going to go up and over. Then of course we can add sort of the same yardy space on the other side, but of course this one is going to be much smaller than the one we've got over here. Now actually, before I make the bridge, I do want to add in another building over here, and I'm going to be a little cheeky and basically copy this one, except for the fact that I'm only going to use half of it. There you go. You would never know. And it kind of seems like I'm putting off building this bridge. I'm not, so let's go and do it. First of all, we need some slopes up, then a flat section to turn 90 degrees on, a little bit more up, and finally a bit to bridge the gap. Now, since the side barriers were such a mess last time, I am just going to cave in and use a fence. There we go. That is the sides of the bridge complete. Again, just don't look too close because it is a little bit messy. So now I've got to add some supports, and instead of doing a pillar at each corner like I did with the other bridge, I'm going to do just 2 big cylinders for some pillars, and then I'm just going to color them a more brown and dark brick color. Right, and there we go. That is all the big stuff I want to build today. Now it's just on to smaller stuff, some clutter, some trees, and some foliage, and then we should be done. So, the first thing I want to add, and I guarantee this will completely change the place up, is a couple of these little pebble circle things. I don't know why, but they just make the landscape look so good. Already, that is looking so much better. So, now we can add a good bit of clutter. Firstly, I think a couple of pallets will be quite nice. And even though everything else looks a little bit too big, I am just going to add some forklifts. And I know this isn't a farm, but I think a cheeky silo here won't hurt. Let me do the same for over here. I think now we can probably move on to adding the final touches of foliage and trees. And now what I want to do is add in a fence between the track and this little courtyard. And luckily there is this perfect fence that is in the build menu. Now I'm not going to go too crazy with this fence. I just want to make sure there is an element of safety so that no one is going to accidentally end up on the train tracks. There we go. I'm pretty happy with those fences. I think they just add a nice little bit of safety in, and it just makes everything a little bit more realistic, doesn't it? So now all I've got to do is add in the final trees. This shouldn't take me too long. And there we go. That is all the trees in, and this has really pulled this area together now. I really like how as the trains come off the viaduct, it sort of merges perfectly with this little yard, and then we come into the station. So that is all we have time for today. Next episode, as I said, we'll be continuing with a little bit of the town, and after that we can extend the railway to goodness knows where. But if you did enjoy, make sure to leave a like, make sure to subscribe, and I will see you again very soon. Goodbye.